Good evening, and I can say that without fear of contradiction tonight. Good evening. Sorry for the delay. We've had a few mic problems. Sorry, Mike, if you're watching. But I think we got it sorted. Hopefully you can hear me. My little buddy's with me. Now, Brad, he'll be coming in later. Little mini me there. How the devil are you all? Yeah, just take this in. Leicester City 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. How good. Look, let me just do this. Just take that. Just look at it. Just milk it. Just enjoy it for what it is. Look at that. Wolves 0, Leicester City. Yes, it was only Wolves and they were goddamn awful, but who cares? Who cares? 2 wins and a trot, back to back. Our first points away from home. Almost as good as having sex in it. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. This is the post-match show with Chris and Brad. We're looking back at the Wolves game.
It's time for the smug face.
It has to be.
It's time! Strap yourself in, because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts. Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
Actually, I am all right. How are you guys? Leicester City are the first team to win a Premier League game by 4+ goals, despite starting the day bottom of the table since, well, Leicester 20 games ago when we did it against Nottingham Forest. Nothing like beating your own record, is there? And no, that's not a euphemism for anything before any of you say. We had the worst away record in the league. In fact, not only that, we had the worst away league record in the country because we hadn't got a point away from home. Now, well, we've got 3. We've got 3. Let's just say a few hellos. Scott is in. Guys, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much. Leicester fan, woohoo, swivel on it, indeed. Seen the goals on YouTube, Chris. They were amazing. They were some amazing goals. True Red's in. Hiya, Luke. Sorry, mate, but yeah, back down there. Well, for a week anyway. We'll probably be there next week. I said it before. All we needed was centre backs, similar to Huth and Morgan. Fraser's cut from the same cloth, and Amarty was mentored by them both to get Amarty. Let's be honest with you. They showed a picture of him sort of midway through the second half, and I thought, hello, they brought Amarty on. And then I thought, hang on, no. He's been on since the start. And I think the fact that we can look at it and go, well, I didn't realise he was on. He was therefore, in my eyes, doing a very good job. Was he not?
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chums. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
Yeah, it certainly is. Doug's just said, just seen the goals. My God, Tilleman's strike was outstanding. It was a scarecrow of a goal. It was outstanding in his field. Oh, come on. Come on, that's not bad. I've been up all day. Good evening, Brad. And let's be honest with you, it's good.
Yeah, for once, mate, we can actually say a good evening from a Leicester game, mate. Where did that come from? Hey, where did that?
Is it confidence, do you think? I mean, there's just a few players I want to. Ward, another clean sheet. He was outstanding. And yes,
worst goalkeeper ever, some people said.
Yeah, they did. But I mean, yes, let's be honest with you, it was only Wolves. And we know that Wolves aren't particularly good. They got 5 goals all season. But he had to do his job. He was commanding. He came off his line.
He made some fantastic saves as well. I think it was at 2-0, maybe even only been 1-0. I can't quite remember. But they broke away Wolves, and he made that save that was hit across him. Saul couldn't keep out Barnes, but he made that save, and he was so commanding. And again, you said about confidence.
He got the follow up as well because it came back. It was headed down, and he was ready for the second attempt. What a goalkeeper we've got!
I know, right? But confidence breeds that confidence and composure because we have talked about it a lot this season, and especially in some glaring performances. I don't need to remind the fans who were against what scorers were, but we were saying it was erratic, it was panicky, it was ball watching or ball chasing. What's Ward going to be like with a defence when it's actually got brain cell? But we've seen it. We've seen it over the last 3 or 4 games, and we're seeing what it does. And that confidence has bred the calmness back into the team. It's injected that back into it, and we're seeing what a goalkeeper we have and why we got him from the likes of Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, I do want to say just concentrate on a few players. It's most of the team, to be honest with you. Amati, he's taken some stick, and like I said there, when I saw him come up on the screen, and I was watching it, I was like, God, I didn't realise they'd brought him on. I must have missed that sub. And I realised he'd been on since the start. And that's a sign, especially with a defender, that is the sign of that he's having a good game because you don't really notice him. He's done that wrong. He had another solid game.
Yeah, he did. And he didn't even make any of his little niggly mistakes that he did against the likes of Palace. And Leeds beforehand, where he'd make a bit of a short back pass. He seemed quite composed, actually. He went about his job. And again, this is all, as much as we were all on the back foot and giving them players stick for the turmoil when the results were bad. Now things are going good. You can see that's sometimes what you need in football. You've got to grasp at a few straws before you can start making a bale of hay, because you're not going to fix the problems. But that was a very pleasing performance. And again, I know you played devil's advocate, and I'm sure there is people in the comments going, it was only Wolves. Yeah, but we were only 20th in the Premiership.
Exactly, and you can only play who's against you.
Yeah, we'd be moaning if we were, say, 6th in the table and lost 1-0 today against only Wolves, wouldn't we? So
exactly. We were bottom of the table. I read that stat out at the start. Fofana, who? Wes has come in. Verta's come in. He's older. He's more mature. I love the fact that he's got the ball in the box. He's got 2 Wolves strikers coming down on him. What does he do? Rosed. Just it out. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've heard some Leicester comparisons, and there's probably a few in the chat that have compared him to Leicester legends. But, Nemanja Vidic, Ferdinand, quality defenders like that had a bit of aggression to them. I'm sure there's others that people will name, but just name an extra few. He's got that about him, hasn't he? Because he's not afraid to go in. He's not afraid to get himself stuck in. And you know what? He played a pivotal part in one of our goals with the break-up play and running out. And honestly, sometimes when you go and watch a magician and he does the same trick over and over again, you think, get a new trick, mate. Well, if Leicester keep doing this with their centre-backs, I said it on the Friday night show, Maguire gets replaced with Fofana, and then we replace Fofana with Valdes. We're going to keep bringing in upper quality. I'm all for it.
Chelsea Perspective is in. Happy day for you, Chris. But I do happen to know that Chelsea Perspective is here on behalf of Chelsea Football Club, and they have put a £50 million bid in for Wout Faes to sign in January. Sorry, mate. I couldn't resist that. And Chelsea Perspective, I've got to say, mate, thank you so much. Donation there, 3 earlier, and thank you to Trolls, LCFC, Gray, and Doug for their contributions earlier in the watch along. Thank you for that, Chelsea. That means an awful lot, especially because I'm not working at the moment. So thank you for that. Let me just go sort of some other chats very quickly. Is Brad doing the play? Yes, he is, Terry.
Come on, Terry. I'll bring it this time, Terry.
I'll tell you what, Terry, if you fancy coming on and on camera and what have you, and I'm happy for you to come on, and you can, we can do it. You can do it alongside Brad, or just comment, whichever you prefer. Madison scored the best goal for me. How he created the space and finish. It's pouring down at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's pouring goals for Newcastle as well, isn't it? Glad I made the transfers I did and put Tielemans and Madison in my Premier League team because they got me a very good return. I'm sure they did. And I've got to say, great for admitting that from a Nottingham fan, Luke. Thank you very much. Chelsea saying, I was thanking him for that. He said, no worries. Only Wolves, it was only Liverpool, so it goes, but it does exactly. You can only play what's in front of you, and as I said earlier, mate, that was a great win for you. That's given us confidence today, but what it must do for your morale that you've actually beaten Liverpool. I mean, at the end of the day, Liverpool didn't have the shooting boots on, so fucking what? That's not your fault. You put 10 men behind the ball, so what? You hit them on the break. It's up to them to break you down. Great morale boosting win for you. Faes is a no messing centre back. He is. Diego Costa tried to bully Faes and he shrugged it off like it was nothing. Right, we are staying up, but we are staying up. I put my clapper away now. Sorry, girls. Let's go on. We have been saying, or not we, but people have been saying, that we've missed that midfielder with a bit of bite. That will get stuck in, put his foot in. I'm trying to think of a player, and I can only think of defenders, but sort of midfielder that the Roy Keane type of the player. Now, I'm not comparing him to Roy Keane, but I think we finally might have that in Samori. Again,
another player. I mean, there's loads of plaudits we're going to be giving today, but and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Wilfred and Didi must be thinking, am I going to get straight back into this team? Because I don't think he is right now. Samare was an absolute animal at breaking the play up today.
Yeah.
I thought he was fantastic. Again, we'll get on to individual plaudits, especially when it comes to player ratings. Yeah. Terry might like me a bit better spoiler alert, Terry, when it comes to them. But
what he does say I happen to agree with the vast majority.
Yeah. Well, that's what matters, mate. And it paid off. I psyched him out, Terry. I gave him a 3 because I told him to score goals. It all worked. It's all part of my genius plan, Terry. But anyway, Samori was fantastic, and he looked
so peed off when he got taken off, which is a good sign. But I think he was knackered. But it will be. We know he probably will, because look what happened to Pratt today, and we'll come on to that in a second. But you can't, when you win 4-0, you can't argue with what Brendan did. No. But indeed, he can't just walk back into this side now, can he?
No, he can't, and that's good. That's good. I mean, I kind of came up with the idea that I think I commented on the show, and I might have even said it on our Friday night show, but I think that the likes of Pratt and Samore are only going to benefit from this 5-sub rule, and obviously covering for injuries with Samore doing excellent. But the transfer window actually could end up being a blessing in disguise, in the fact that we weren't able to do business unless we sold, which we know we were forced to. Not in Casper, but we were forced to, Vout in for Fafana. And I think because let's remember,
Who?
Pratt actually exactly that. He's like, who is he? But Pratt, people need to remember as well. This is the first time that Pratt's actually been around for Rodgers to pick. He's been out on loan, and he's just been told, go back out to Torino. I'll get more of a feel for you. Come back, sort it out. And now he's been, I want to say, a little bit forced. It sounds like the wrong word to use, but now that Rodgers has kind of got rotation and he's got to trust, and they've paid him off well for his trust, but he's got to trust Mendy, he's got to trust Amore, he's got to trust Amati, he's got to trust I can't say Vardy because we know we could trust him, but he's got to trust Dennis Pratt, because where we've lacked the depth before, we now have that sat on our bench, and this 5 sub rule has to be exploited by Brendan for what it's there. Yeah. And we talked here, I know we'll get on to the timing of the substitutes later on, but that was the thing that was quite evident against Leeds.
We made 5 substitutions.
It's like he watches the show. Brendan, if you're watching, mate, I'll take 85 grand a week.
That wasn't Brendan.
Oh.
We've just watched the invasion of the body snatchers. That was somebody else on the sidelines. But look, two more players I just want to pick out individually before we get onto the match. Tielemans. I mean, we know you and Terry had a disagreement last week about how good he was. Costa was playing, Terry. He was playing and he took him off. Unless you're being sarcastic that he was actually hiding in Faye's pocket.
I think that's what he's. I tell you what Holt Fez has just gone to get on the coach and thought there was a big heavy lump in his right pocket and just pulled them out and go, hey up, mate, off you go.
Just talking about that is not. They have not bought the Costa that was here before.
No, the problem is I think maybe Costa.
Well, he's not in as good a team.
No, well, that is true as well. But he's a quality player. He's just he's really the wrong side of 30. That's 6 months of not playing doesn't help somebody, especially not at that age. Yes. And you know what? I don't know what stream. I think you might have been watching it on BT, but I was watching it on a totally legitimate streaming app.
I was. It just happened to be French, but it was totally legitimate.
Well, yeah, but when he came off, it panned to the bench of Diego Costa, and he was sat there, his eyes looking glazed, and he was looking up, and he had his head thrown back, and he was slumped. And I think that's the man that thinks, either God, what the hell am I doing and playing for Wolves? I should be playing for the opposition, or God, maybe I would love to see the old Diego Costa back, especially now we've played him. He can go and do what he wants. I'd love to see that back, but I think unfortunately this might not be as happy as a return to the Premier League as.
No. Did he sign a permanent deal or is he on loan?
No, he was a free agent, so it had to be a permanent deal.
Okay. Like I say, last week you and Terry couldn't agree on what rating to give Tielemans. I have not seen a performance from Tielemans like today for over a season. He was almost like taken off. His defensive shackles were taken off him. Maybe Soumare was trusted more, but I mean that goal. That goal was FA Cup standard.
Yeah, it was, and you know what? I'm going to say this. I watched the Leeds game back a bit more, and I was harsh on Tielemans, and I've admitted that on the phone. I was harsh on my rating of Tielemans. I didn't really notice as much as I was looking for his defensive work, and that was sublime against Leeds. It was sublime today, but I wanted to see him do more in the role.
Just say that again. You were admitting you were wrong.
I'm admitting I was harsh on the rating because I didn't pay much attention to his defensive duties that he did against Leeds. However, I stand by a lower rating than what most were willing to give him because I wanted to see what that number 8 has got in his magic locker. And 9 minutes in, Chris, he showed us what he can do when he's got a bit more freedom. And that was lovely.
Exactly. He's had those shackles on him, and it has not only ruined him, it has ruined the team. That's the performance you would look at and go, somebody would pay 50 million for that. But he hasn't been doing those. He's been putting 15, 20 million pound performances in because he's been asked to play, not his normal. Same with Marty. Those first few games, he was absolutely rubbish. And I can say for me, Marty was my most improved player last season. So, I like Marty. Put him back onto the right, suddenly, he's okay. Matthew says there, I agree on Tielemans. He was like Tielemans of old. Yes, he does want to move, but he can go. He's run out his contract, so he can very much go in a couple of months and sign a prenuptial or whatever they call it. No, not a prenuptial, but you know what I mean. But that performance was Tielemans of old. I've said for since the FA Cup, that Tielemans of the last season would not have scored that goal because he wouldn't have been in that position to score it. The Tielemans, it's nice to have him back. Yeah. And I've got to say, I'm going to mention this because it's only fair if I'm critical of a player. It's only fair to give credit where credit due. Vardy, that again was Vardy of old. Fox in the box, poaching. Again, it was a lovely. The crosses and the play into the box was just sublime. And you can say, I keep saying it was only Wolves. I don't care. You can only play who you're against. But it's great. He's got a goal. Let's hope that kickstarts his season.
Yeah, and it was typical Jamie Vardy-esque, wasn't it? He starts on the bench. He downs a can of Red Bull, crushes the Red Bull can.
He was drinking the Red Bull, wasn't he, before he came on?
I know. Necking his Red Bull, smashing the can up, running on the pitch, playing his part in the build-up, and then smashing it in, and then telling Wolves fans that they stink a little bit. Yeah, it was good to see. It was one of them games where it just felt like, like when you have a reunion of your favourite show and you see them all looking great. You think, oh, look at that. It's good, the good old days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was one of them, wasn't it? It felt like we rolled back a few months to the performance.
We did. And look at us. Look at how we're happy in 2 wins. Well, we're fickle. I mean, he did great, score a good goal, but I love the whole performance he put in today. I wasn't sure man of the match, him. There's a couple of others, but I had to say I did go for Tielemans, and we'll talk about that obviously in a bit. But just the whole performance. I mean, I said I'm not going to suddenly say Brendan in, right? No. We have played Wolves. And we've played Leeds. And we played Palace as well and Forest. No disrespect, and I know Luke's in, so no disrespect to any of these, but they're not the best teams in the league. And you could say the same about us. We weren't the best teams in the league. But do you remember me, and I think I said this to you last week, when Brighton was struggling last season and they had the fall from grace, come March, they were bottom of the form table. What they did was go out and start winning against teams that were around them at the bottom, and they moved back up the table. That 3 points today will be more important than the 3 points if we get against Manchester City, because we've obviously, it's a rival down there. But like I say, it's only 2 games. He's got to carry this on. I'm allowing him Man City. I'm not expecting anything from that. But if Brendan Rodgers, at the end of this season, with the way his hands were tied, and again, I've said this in fairness about Rodgers, he wasn't dealt a good card at the end. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. He was hung out to dry a little bit. If he gets us to, say, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th at the end of this season, I have no worries in him staying another season.
No, I don't either. And
that was a long introduction, and I do apologise. I had a Brad moment there. I went on a bit. I apologise.
No, always, mate. No, you're right. And I think Leicester fans, the majority, would go, okay, fair enough. You've passed that sort of 4th season hoodoo curse that he's been tagged with from his times at like Swansea, Liverpool, etc. And then you kind of look at it. Again, like I said, it could be a blessing in disguise. This no budget, there's no room to wiggle the team around a bit, because you know, he might all of a sudden, like he's seeming to see, I know it's only been 2 or 3 games, but he's putting players on with purpose. And what I mean by that is they're not coming on the 87th, the 88th, and 93rd minute. They're coming on with 60 minutes on the clock, 70 minutes gone, no chance to impact the game. And all of a sudden, it makes them worries that we'd have to sort things out in January kind of ease off a bit. And if we build this up and end up achieving expectations, let's say in terms of a finish, I don't see why you would get rid of him. I mean, we have only won games that on paper you'd expect us to win. But like I said to you before we went live, Chris, you know, people will come on here and maybe say, oh, yeah, but it was only Wolves. But we was only 20th in the league table before kickoff and I hadn't got a point away from home, let alone a victory. So it's all ifs, ands, and buts until that whistle goes. At the end of the day, whether it's 4-0 or it's a 96-minute own goal that does it for us, I'll take 3 points. Yeah. So,
just as a reminder, there we go. Leicester, the first team to win a Premier League game by 4+ goals while being at the bottom of the league since Leicester 20 days ago. So there we go. You can only play what's in front of you. Good evening, Mike. I hope you are okay, sir, and things are a little bit better for you. And Terry, I think we'd all have to have a rethink, you know, and I'm not, football fans are fickle, you know, aren't we? I mean, you know, there's a few rumblings about Klopp because they're struggling. I mean, that's silly, but you know what I mean. But, you know, we are fickle. And when things are going against you, when a player's having a bad time, we're anti them. And then we're all brilliant and the garden smells of roses when we start winning again or somebody has a good game. That's football for you. But we've every right to be that. We're fans. We've every right to be that. You know, I don't sit here and think anything I say on here is going to make the blindest bit of difference to Leicester. I'm not that, stupid. But I say what I think as a fan. And if it's bad, I think I've got every right to say it's bad. And if it's good, like now, we will give out praise, you know.
Yeah.
You know, Gray says they can only play who's in front of you.
Yeah. And he's right. And the thing is as well, I mean, I don't really want to say anything too negative or anything after straight performance, but there's fans out there, and I agree with you, Chris. I think you're right and anybody's right with the right intent behind it. I don't mean just going out there and calling them effing this, effing that, and just slating them for the sake of having a bad result. But if someone's had a poor game, or we've had a poor game as a team, you should be allowed to say that's not good enough. I expect my team to play better, and I expect the team I support for X amount of years or X amount of days, doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, or whatever. You know, what annoys me is these people that then respond to them people by going, "Oh, support your team." None of that statement is me not supporting my team. No. I'm just, but I mean, none of the statement is not supporting the team. I hate it when people feel the need to throw in snide comments like, "Oh, support your team." "Oh, how many games have you gone to?" Armchair fan. Cough. You're actually the most toxic of fans out there because you can't wait to have a snipe at someone. There is a difference between being critical and analytic in your criticals. Don't just say the shit like you say when people say I'm talking shit or you're talking shit, Chris. Give us a reasoning behind why you think that. Use that a little bit, right? Because if they say we lost a 4-0 and we came out there tearing the arse out of the whole team, and someone came up saying, "Oh, support your club," I would honestly tell you to fuck off, because I'm supporting my club. I don't support the performance. I know.
I call it the sun effect now, because I always get this in the group. Is that if I post anything, oh well, it's in the bloody sun, isn't it? Well, that really adds a lot to the argument, doesn't it? You know what I mean? All it shows to me is that you haven't got the brains to comment on the story. You're just blaming, why? Well, that's a stupid thing to say, Chris. Well, why is it? Tell me why it is. But look, let's celebrate. We are out the bottom three, and that is great. That is just morale boosting. I'm looking at the table, and yes, we're 16th. Yes, we've got 11 points. Yes, Aston Villa cocked up. Yes, Arsenal had one job and they didn't do it, just like Liverpool yesterday. But, we are, I don't care, we are out the bottom three, and that's great to look at that table. Here's another table that I've got to say is well worth a look at.
It's coming up. It's coming. It's coming. 12 points coming up.
I mean, well, we've not got to worry. We're surely going to get 1 point. Which, well, we're going to play Wolves again, aren't we? So we're going to get at least 1 point between now and the end of the season. So hopefully that will be the last time I'll have to show this. And I've got to be honest with you, 2-3 games in, I was really concerned.
Well, yeah, but again, that's the joys of football. You can be sat here like we are going, we've just moved up 4 places from 1 win, and suddenly the sunshine and roses are out. And then you don't win in your opening 5. I said this about Gerrard sacking last night, on a Thursday night, or whenever it was they played. So I forgot, because it's just...
Same night as us, Thursday, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I said, you look at their run of results. It may have even been, I made the same point about Jesse March with Leeds. They got the points early on, and it's actually the runs now where they're suddenly lost 6 in a row, lost 7 in a row, that have cost them the manager's job. It would have been interesting, Chris, wouldn't it, if we'd have played these games, if we'd have flipped, I mean, what's that, get 11 games now, 12 games?
12, I think it is, yeah.
I would wonder people's perspective had we flipped these games on their head and played these 6 that we just played first, and then played, it shows you how funny a funny old game of football, because even though we had a terrible start, winning at Forest, all right, we lost to Bournemouth, but drawing with Palace, beating Leeds, beating Wolves, looks a hell of a lot better than, when Leeds lose again, and that's they haven't won in 7. I know Villa got a turnaround, so I can't mock them for that. But you know what I mean, Chris? It's weird how your perspective and mindset changes when you're not much worse or better off than the teams you mentioned, but all of a sudden it looks and sounds better because they're losing again and you're picking up points. So it's fun, isn't it?
It is. It is. The bad news is that the women lost today to Manchester United, but it was only by a single goal again. So
and apparently, because I did catch the last couple of minutes of that game. I mean, Manchester United, this is the Women's League. This is their best ever start to a season.
Yes, the joint top.
Yeah, they've got a plethora of not just England, but internationals all around in their squad. And Leicester, by all accounts, from the reports and that I read, were not sure if unfortunate is the right word, but apparently they played really well. And we've done a few watch-alongs with Chris, haven't we? And
yes,
we'll keep the happy momentum on Leicester. Even though they've not managed to pick up any points yet, they've done really well in their performances, haven't they?
Yeah, the BBC here, the headline is Man United scrape WSL win at Leicester. So, it kind of says it all. Ray says here, 3 clean sheets in a row is huge. It is. It is. Like I say, you and me, Brad, we stood by Danny Ward.
Yeah, I can't wait for my goalkeepers bonus committee for standing by Danny Ward for that. But no, again, you talk about fickle fans. I know people say it in tongue-in-cheek or in outbursts when we've had bad results, and that's fine. We say things in the heat at the moment. But I believe also, Chris, that's 4 clean sheets for the worst goalkeeper that's ever put on a Leicester shirt, or ever, as some people thought. And I believe that's 3 clean sheets for the worst centre-back to ever play for Leicester and Daniel Amartey, because...
Yeah. No, it is true. I mean, I said earlier, Ward was commanding. You could see him shouting at his players.
Wow.
And I like when Mendy came on, he had a really long discussion with Tielemans about where they were both going. It was good to see organisation. Scott asked here, so it's a good question. I'll put it to you before we move on. And I can't see what it says. After the last few games, would you keep a Marty in rather than bring Evans back if he's fit? I think you've got to bring Evans back, haven't you? No disrespect to a Marty.
Possibly not. Possibly not. And the reason for that being is 2 reasons. Man City is a bonus game. And it is now. It's a much more enjoyable bonus game, because this is probably the first time in a while, Chris, we can say the Man City one's more about the performance than the result, as long as we can give account ourselves and fight. But the reason I say that is 2 reasons. the Man City being a bonus game could extend his run in the team. I don't think you want to throw Evans into that if you know. And going on further with that, Evans' ability or inability with his age, I suppose, to recover and get back to that intense level of what he can play takes longer. And for me, I would rather, with the greatest respect, I'm not, take Marty out after the Man City game.
Yeah.
Put Evans back in, but give Johnny Evans an extra week on that training ground. Give him an extra week to build up that strength. Give him sharpness. I don't know if he could do a Vestergaard and go and play 40 minutes for the under-23s. I don't know, but give him that time. And then we've got Everton and West Ham. And then you can play him for them 2 games. So he's,
And then, can you believe it? And then I think we've got the World Cup. Oh, no, we've got Newport and then the World Cup. Oh, no. No, we've got we've got Everton and West. You've got 3 games left.
Do you know what makes me laugh, right? I keep seeing, and I tune into LCFC at the end. I watch their full-time thing back. And ever since we beat Stockport, all it has is an advert down the side for Newport. I'll tell you the fucking day or time we'll kick off. Does someone tell me when is Newport in between West Ham and Everton? Is it after? Somebody help me and Chris out, because I keep looking at it going, it's going to fucking change.
It's a midweek game. It's a midweek game at night. World Cup fan zone. I don't want that. Leicester City. What's coming up? Fixtures. Let's have a look for you, Brad. I'm nothing if not helpful here. We play them on Tuesday, the 8th of November at 7:45.
Okay, so it's after the Everton game then.
Yeah. So we've got Man City next. Then we've got Everton. Then we've got Newport. Then we've got West Ham. Then it's the World Cup. I mean, for me, just going back to the point, I'd bring Johnny Evans back if he's fit and if he's if he's good enough to play, simply because it's his extra knowledge, because it's Man City. But
I think the thing is, you're not going to the World Cup with Johnny Evans, so you can afford to not pay him in a high intensity game. And you say Man City, Chris. Woutface is going to have his keys, his wallet, and he's going to have Erling Haaland and Jack Grealish in his back pockets on that game. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about
that. Everton is on Guy Fawkes Day. Liverpool is on New Year's Eve. Would you believe? But look, that's the table. How good does that look?
Certainly a lot better than it did literally this morning.
I don't have a look at the last column, because that doesn't mean anything. Because we see, if that's how it is at the end of the season, we have another season in the Premier League. It doesn't matter what it says on the right. But, everything there. It's a feel good. It's that feel good factor, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, and it shows the impact of doing what we asked, because when you posed the question to us before Nottingham Forest game, sorry Luke, but we said how many points we're going to pick up, and I was so pessimistic. I actually said anyone who says more than one.
I think you said no points. Didn't you?
I said that's what I mean. Anyone who said more than one was more optimistic than and one or more was more optimistic than me. And forget expectations aside. Like, you look at it in perspective of who we've got coming up. We've got the team below us. I can't believe. Did you hear that, Chris? You heard me right. We've got a team below us coming up. And even though Everton, with the surprise win, they have one fucking job to get rid of Lampard and do it. Anyway, but Everton are there in 11th, I believe, on 13 points. We're in 2 points off that. I mean, we've just jumped up 4 places today. All right, Man City, that's just assuming the natural happens. We get 4 points or whatever from our remaining 2 league games for the World Cup. We could be just outside or just a point or two shy of that top off. It shows you how tight that is in the league. Because Leeds, I think they have a game in hand, all right. They didn't win today. And I think, obviously, West Ham play on Monday night. But I think it's against someone.
I'm just checking that, because it says we've played 11. I thought we'd played 12. It did this to me earlier. The site that I used to copy that, because basically it fits nicely into the.
I think it is 11. I think it's because Leeds have played 10, and I don't know why West Ham have 11, unless because they play on Monday night.
Leicester have played 12.
Have they? So I'd
Yeah.
see that's what me. It might not.
Southampton have played 12. We've got Aston Villa to play. We of course we missed those. Wolves have played 12. It just for some reason it's updated the points, but not the games. But
BBC Sport wasn't reliable for their update on table. But anyway, the point is, you look at that. Hey, look at me and you, Chris. We didn't bottle it like the rest. We had
Can I just say, yeah, and I said this, and I read this out before the game started in the watch along. I said, once you get past the first two, nobody has predicted a win for Leicester City. I mean, you got the clean sheet right, but unfortunately, that doesn't get you a point. Oh. We both only get 1 point because we got the right outcome. But look, Craig said he was optimistic for a 1-1. Jerry Taggart, top of the league, went 1-1. Marsh, Ian Wilson, the two Ians, and Steve Walsh went 1-1. Steve Leinix went 0-0. It is. Oh, well, I tell you what, should we have a look? There we go. That's the table. There we go. Jerry is top with 8. Ian is second with 5. I finally got off to. I'm up to 4. Ian's on 4. Brad's on 3. Craig's on 2. Steve on 2. And Walshy, bless him, is back down there bottom with 2. But with 3 points for correct score, it can all change.
It's very true, mate. It's very true. And, you know, it's working well, isn't it? We're having a bit of form, all of us Leicester fans, because I think didn't me and you both predict us to win today in the one we do with Steve?
Oh, wow. Funny you should say that, because it wasn't Steve, was it, this week? It was Doug.
No, it wasn't. But
I know Doug's it, Doug. We're not having you on again. You're too good at this. Yeah, that said, actually, in fairness, it hasn't been a brilliant week.
No, I don't think. I think we've had a few. I think there was a few results we all went for, and it's all banana skinned on us, which I suppose in turn is neither good nor bad for anybody. But
yeah, right. Just read out the scores to me. Aston Villa, Brentford. That was 4-0 Villa, wasn't it?
4-0 Villa.
None of us went that way. You went for a draw. Leeds United, Fulham. That was 2-3, wasn't it?
3-2 to Fulham. Yeah.
Yeah. 3-2 to Fulham. You get a point for that.
Yeah, I knew that one. Good old Leeds.
Southampton, Arsenal, 1-1.
Fucking bottle job.
Nobody got that. Nobody got that.
Anthony, your team had one job. I can hear the Arteta out screaming through YouTube, even though the top one.
Wolves 0, Leicester City 4. We all went for that one. Well, we all went for an away win. None of us got the score right. And I will give at the moment. Well, we went for Newcastle win, so because it's Steve, so maybe you'll get a point for that. You went 3-2 Tottenham Newcastle. That could still happen. I went 2-1 Tottenham Newcastle. So at the moment, Steve stroke Doug has got 3 points. You have got 3 points. I have got 4 points because I got 3-1 Manchester City Brighton spot on. Boom.
Oh, nice.
But apart from that, I got the Leicester. Those are the only 2 I've got right.
Yeah, that's what matters, though, mate. Like you said, you could get a couple of scores right and nothing else. You could come out with more points.
Yes. Yep. Indeed. Right. I mean, tell me. Okay, this was the lineup. And I was surprised, and you said, I know you messaged, tweeted on a reply to that when I put it out on Twitter, that it wasn't unexpected.
No, it wasn't. And we've kind of joked at times when we've looked at the lineups and gone, you never know with Brendan. But this was probably the first time that it seemed to be very easy to predict the 11. I think maybe the understanding that he can count up to 5 made it easier for him because he was able to kind of, again, I'm not saying he's kind of pulling the wool over people's eyes. I'm sure he isn't, but in a sense, he's able to put Maddison straight back in there and look to his bench and go, look, you're going to get time on this. Don't worry about it, sort of thing. And, we've said this we said this probably last season, but very much voiced it again this season. There's no way Vardy's going game at the start.
No.
He's going to get rested, and exactly that was. So the two changes to the side were expected, and that was it. So yeah, very strong starting 11 and very predictable starting 11.
Yeah. Did feel a bit sorry for Pratt, though. I mean, it's easy to sit here now and go, yeah, Brendan got it spot on, obviously. But at the start, I did feel sorry for Pratt.
You did. And again, I was probably in that mindset that if Brendan started to use the 5 subs for what they're there for, and that means you can take a player off, even if he's not your most fanciable player, he's not a player that you can see playing in your team week in, week out. You've got 5 subs, so you can make a sub and feel and give that player the encouragement that he's getting ample playing time. And it was disappointing, but Madders is red hot, so there's no way he was gonna.
He was always going to come back in, no doubt about it. You know.
But I did feel sorry for him. I did feel sorry for him, but I was also then glad to see him in time come on. So.
Yeah, no, exactly. Doug is saying that it's Liverpool Leeds next Saturday evening at 7:45.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Doug. We have one job. Well done, Leeds, on your first victory of the season in about 10 years.
I know. I was going to say, that's 3 points to Leeds. You beat me to it. Oh, dear. 7:45, that's a late kickoff on a Saturday.
Yeah, they've been really strange.
Jesus. Yeah, it's normally about 4 or 5 o'clock, isn't it?
Well, I reckon Jurgen Klopp's making them change the time so he can use it as an excuse. So when they lose, they'll be like, "Yeah, who kicks off at this time on a Sunday or Saturday?"
Yeah. that impersonation was very close to Hitler. I'm not going to be honest with you.
well, his excuses come out like well, I know. Just move on. Yeah, next scene.
Another loss for Liverpool. Enjoy it, Luke. Enjoy it. If you're doing the watch along for that, let me know, mate. If you want me. That says you don't necessarily want me, but if you are and you do, let me know. Subs for us. Soyuncu still didn't get on. Thomas, Mendy. Nice to see Albrighton get a little bit of a few minutes out there. Pratt and Vardy were the ones that came on. And Mark Albrighton, in fairness, he had a couple of good touches.
Yeah, he did. He had a little moment, I think, in the last 5 or so minutes, and I found myself going, Mark Albrighton, you sexy little beast, the way he brought it down and swiveled the defender. It didn't found myself saying that because it was good, and that little 3-0 up, 4-0 up, whatever it was at that point, you could kind of afford to have a bit of fun.
Yes.
It was nice for a change, with the greatest respect to Wolves and my dad, because he's a Wolves fan.
I forgot that.
I didn't. I haven't messaged him.
Hello, Mr. Perkis.
He's probably out golfing, so imagine how raging he is at that result. But it was nice, wasn't it, Chris? Because not only did we win and get 3 points away from home, which has been impossible to get until today, but we did to Wolves what other teams have been doing to us, where they came at us, they had the wind in the sails, and then we knocked the stuffing out of them. And we did it in both halves. You know, just when they started momentum, I think my commentator said it was like Wolves were coming up against a blue sponge, because they just absorbed everything and then ringed it and then just power blasted it back at them. And when, the second goal killed their momentum in the first half, the third goal killed their momentum in the second half, and it was nice to have that little bit of swagger, wasn't it?
Totally. I mean, at 2-0, they came at us in the second half, and I'm thinking, oh, this is Leicester, but we needed the third goal. They got the third goal. I mean, look, you know what I'm like with my stats.
Yes.
And you know me of old Brad. And you know that if I was looking at that and we'd lost this game by any score, I would have been going 5 shots from Leicester. What the fuck is going on? I don't care, because the biggest stat, like you always say, is how many of those went in. We got 4 on target and they were all goals.
Yeah.
21 shots from Wolves, but they were from outside the box. They were shooting from, here, there, and everywhere. They weren't getting near Danny Ward for most of the game.
No, and that just shows again the improvements and the calmness that Leicester showed in their defensive duties. And you know what? If you go back and listen to what Brendan has said over the 7 or 8 games before we've been on this little run here, he has mentioned getting the shape organised, giving the intensity, and doing all these little things. And today was like the hard work paid off.
Yes,
because I don't remember as losing a ball in too much of a danger area. And by that, I don't mean like booting up in the air and it falling and they win. But I mean like losing the ball, trying to press out. We weren't panicked on the ball. We weren't panicked when we lost the ball. And everything seemed to click today. Again, them scruffy wins that we've been getting have paid out to, I would probably say, because I would argue this was our best 90 minutes performance since Chelsea. And I know we lost that game to Chelsea, but a lot of people said that was our best performance, and we lost because
it was the performance of the season, definitely. Yeah, I did that watch along yesterday between Forest and Liverpool. I say it again, one fucking job, Doug. And I watched that, and I mean, Liverpool could still be playing now, and they wouldn't score. I'll be honest with you. But, Forest, I'm surprised they were at home, but they got 10 players behind the ball. Whenever Liverpool came forward, there was 10 red shirts in their own half. 5, at one point, it was 5 Forest defenders in the box against Mo Salah, to be honest with you. I mean, that's how they defend. And then they hit on the break. It doesn't matter, they won. They're not bothered about that. They got the 3 points. Yeah. And it was the same with this one. Yeah, so Wolves had 21 shots, but only 5 of those were on target. They were going here, there, and those that were on target, Danny Ward was dealing with. The good thing, 9 corners and we didn't concede a goal.
Yeah, again, I kind of tongue-in-cheek have been, I have been saying over the last couple of games, tongue-in-cheek, worst goalkeeper keeps a clean sheet, worst defender plays in the team and we keep a clean sheet. Well, as some dopey Arsenal fan did, and I know he's an Arsenal fan because I replied to his tweet, and you'll know this tweet, and I'm sure some Leicester fans will know it, from the most pointless man in football, who, by the way, will get on. I want to have a little word about him, if you can ask me about the set-piece coach. The most pointless man in football was our set-piece coach. That's all I'm going to say, Chris, because we haven't conceded from directly from a corner since the Spurs game. We've kept 4 clean sheets out of 5 since that Spurs game. So, most useless man in football, keeping us solid at the back.
He's done something. He has done something, and I read somewhere that somebody, and I can't remember who it was, said that you shouldn't need a set-piece coach if you've got a defensive coach. Well, I mean, that's his speciality. He's doing it. Is it in America or is it American World Cup squad he's doing it for? He's done it, I think he's doing it in Germany. Well, I don't care. We're getting these clean sheets now, and 21 shots, 5 on target, 9 corners, and we are still kept a clean sheet. So whatever he's doing, keep it up. Keep it up. Rich is in. Good afternoon, Rich. Good evening, good morning, good day. That was an interesting game from a neutral's point of view yesterday. Chelsea Man United. That ball was definitely over, obviously because it was given as a goal. But I've got to say to you, mate, it was tighter than, or was it Lampard's, or was it Terry? I can't remember who in against Germany in the World Cup. Lampard. Yeah. But mate, it came alive in the last 10 minutes. I actually had to stop what I was doing to watch it. Doug says he has no idea why it's 7:45. It'll be TV. He's hoping Marsh will still be in charge by that game. Yeah. The last 2 results, the teams just above us will be thinking, oh God, we got Leicester. Yeah, They will. 6 goals in 2 games. We have got, let me just bring this back up, because I meant to say it earlier. You've just reminded me, Terry. Right? You look at who scored the most goals in that bottom half. And this is a proper bottom half. This isn't a Liverpool are 11th, so we're making the top 10 and 11th and a bottom 10, 12. This is a proper bottom half of the table. We have scored 21 goals. We've scored more goals than anybody else. We scored double what Everton almost, double Bournemouth, Palace, Villa, Southampton. West Ham have only got 9. Wolves have only got 5 goals, and Nottingham Forest have got 7. All right, don't look at the next column because we conceded more than anybody else in the bottom half. But hey, as long as you're scoring more, and we know we've had we had the Arsenal, we had the Spurs. That was 10 goals in in 2 games there. But I mean, yeah, they're going to be worried about us on being on form at the moment. And like I said earlier, Vardy came back and got one.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I think the one thing that's helped us out through this difficult start to the season is we never really have struggled to score goals, have we? Even in the defeats, there's been a 2 at the end of it, or there's been a 1 in there, and so on. And that's pleasing. Yeah, it's 24, but we've really shored that damage up, haven't we, over the last 4 games?
21 for 24 against. No disrespect to Luke, for Forest 7 scored 23 against. I know which one I'd sooner have. Yeah,
exactly. And again, you look at that table. It's only 2 shy of what Everton and Crystal Palace have scored combined. I think they're total 23, and we scored 20. So you look at that, and all right. Obviously, we're not going to stop conceding goals. We are going to concede goals at some point, especially you'd imagine against Man City next weekend. But what matters is as long as that side's going up and that side's going down, and that, because today, like I said, I did all the calculations quickly and said potentially had Villa lost and West Ham lose on Monday, we would have been 14. I don't know what the results have buggered that up now, but at that point, I was like, well, I think we was at -7. And they were -3, and I was like, well, we need a bit of a goal swing actually to get 14. But as you've now seen, they're below us in the league. We've got that goal swing in our favour, and you suddenly don't look so bad. I'd rather, like you said, Chris, I'd rather be 3 different, but both the numbers being the 20s than 7 and 21 in there.
Exactly. Yeah, as long as we're scoring goal. I always remember Ozzy Ardiles when he was manager of Tottenham, and his philosophy is, well, they score 4, we'll score 5, because he had like 5 strikers on the pitch at some games.
I even said a few weeks ago, didn't I? It actually might have been the Forest win when we finally had something to cheer, and I actually said it's like Leicester need to be like that England song. We're going to score more than you. You will score 1, but and at the end of the day, there's not a fan of a team out there that wouldn't take, winning 3-1 over losing 4-3 because
definitely. Doug says, I'm glad you guys are stuck with Rodgers. Like we said at the start, he deserved to be sacked. There's no 2 ways. The worst start in Premier League history by 30 years, and that is sackable. That is sackable form. But it's Top's club, and he hasn't sacked him. And as I said right at the start, if he gets this right with the way he's been handcuffed with players and what have you, and everything that's been going on at the club, visa problems with the new coach and Fofana and all that, if he gets us to mid-table security this season, he deserves another season here. Spurs have lost to Newcastle. Well done, Newcastle. Newcastle are up to 4th. 21 points. They're above Chelsea because they've got a double a goal difference of Chelsea. Man United 6th, Fulham 7th. Well done, Fulham. Liverpool 8th. Man City are now just 2 points behind Arsenal. But well done, Newcastle. I was speaking to a Newcastle fan in the watch along. I do have a soft spot for Newcastle. Eddie Howe, I can see him being the future England manager. Did you see Daka go like lightning and nearly got the ball from their goalkeeper who was fannying about? Vardy, that used to be Vardy's trick, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. In fact, it reminded me of, I don't know if you'll remember it, Chris, but it was the year we won the championship. And not as electric as his pace, but Chris Wood kind of kept chancing his arm.
Yes, I was there.
And I really just booted it in his face. And it even caught Chris Wood off guard because he kind of just went, ugh!
No, I wasn't. Sorry, no, I wasn't, because that was Watford, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Watford.
Yes.
It was Watford.
I'm getting mixed up with Burnley. No, yeah. The goalkeeper kicked it out. It hit Woods up. Because Woods' reaction afterwards when he was talking to, whether it was Knockout, and we were like, he just came off him.
That's all I know. Yeah. But I tell you what, I love to see his energy. I love to see it. He might need to get in the gym and get on leg day a bit more and build up a body strength, but just the way he can just from A to B that quick, it's scary. Because Sar's not a slouch on the ball either. Their goalkeeper, Wolves' goalkeeper's not a slouch on the ball. And for half a second, I did think it was going to deflect off him and just trickle into the net. But
yeah. But former Chelsea striker Diego Costa, still searching for his first goal since joining Wolves on a free, had numerous chances but could not beat visiting keeper Danny Ward, who tipped one shot over and saved a header. Costa also saw other attempts blocked or deflected away.
Yeah, James Justin's blocked.
Yeah, Danny Podence was another to be denied by a brilliant Ward. Ward, take a bow, lad. Take a bow. Bronzy's in. Bronzy, so you came in very late on the watch along. I saw you, but I'd already started to do the goodbyes by then. These young Fairweather fans are so fickle. Tag Rogers in. I've heard a message. I've got to be honest with you. I admit, you want to look at a fickle fan? I'm here. I think 99.9% of fans are fickle if they're honest. Are they not, Brad?
No, that's very true. And again, that's a joy of sports. We're fickle anything in life to a degree. If you're playing a game, when you're losing, it's fucking the game's fault. You're shit, they're cheating, they're doing this. But when you're having a really good day in gaming, you're the best player ever in the world. And same supporting somebody, you win together, you lose together, and the attitude's the same. You have a positive attitude like we're seeing today in the comments. We're talking about it, and it's just as bad as it is good when it's not going so right. So it's part and parcel of football. I think fickle is an overused word. I just think it's fans' temperament. I think we should all come with a gauge, and you should go by the results where they're going to go and how they're going to react, because it is about that. And it's passion, isn't it? It's a passion.
Yes, it is. It is. Look, Terry's been waiting for this all show, I'm sure.
Yeah, come on, Terry. Come on.
We will be looking at the player ratings straight after this quick break.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes.
Start with Chris. Add a dash of sport, squeeze in some music, then shake, don't stir. And you've got the ultimate blend. LTID Radio.
Shake me, don't stir me. 9 o'clock tonight. It is the Saturday evening binge when I will be joined by our little Scots buddy Doug for an evening. We'll be looking back at the football, no doubt. We will be telling awful dad jokes, and we'll just be playing totally cheesy music. What better way to end the weekend, Brad?
Well, yeah, that's definitely one way to end your weekend.
That's a polite way of saying no.
well, I've heard your dad jokes. Your jad jokes. That's something, wasn't it? Your dad. dad joke standard.
How are the new teeth working out, Brad?
Thanks very much for the time.
Not that Doug's are any better, in fairness.
No,
Leicester till I mixcloud.com/Leicester till I die radio. It's mixcloud.com/Leicester till I die radio. Just follow us with your email. Like I say, you don't get, Brad can say you don't get any junk emails or spam off them, do you?
No, you don't.
No,
Yeah,
just give us a follow. And you can listen to us all being totally silly. Okay, so let's go through these scores then. And then what we can also do is have a look at, if I can get it up on the BBC, let's have a look what the old Leicester fans gave. Oh, here we go. Yeah, you wouldn't believe who the Leicester fans on the BBC have voted for man of the match, but we'll come to that in a minute. Danny Ward. Now, can I just say so before we start? Can I just say, Terry, take a chill pill, sit down, relax. It's all about opinions.
Yeah, that's very true. Ward's a difficult one because for all the stick he's taken, I really want to go extremely high and get a bit giddy. But look, he made a fantastic save of opponents. He commanded his box far better than he has been doing earlier in the season. Made me feel again comfortable with him having the ball at his feet. He seems to be very good at preempting what's going to happen. Was out of his box at lightning quick pace as well in other situations. Did a solid job. I'm going to give him an 8.
Give him an 8. I was going to say 8, to be honest with you. I was going to agree with you.
The temptation to kind of give him a 10 just because of all the stick he's been taking. So I'll give it on performance, not that sort of thing.
Gray's gone for 7, 8. You know, but no, I think he deserved an 8. He was commanding. That is the word.
Yes.
He commanded that box in a way that I hadn't seen Schmeichel do for a long time towards the end. No. I'm going to struggle to find somebody that's had a bad game here, but Timothy Castagna.
I'm going to give him an 8. In the absence of Ricardo, I think maybe a few worried that Castagna couldn't seem to do it on a regular basis. Obviously, we're hoping he doesn't pick up an injury, touch wood on that. But got the assist, kept trying to attack and get Leicester on the front foot. His recovery and tracking back was brilliant. You know, you're playing. I think we sometimes forget, especially with Justin and Castagna, they run the length of the pitch. It's not like he's doing it from halfway upwards as a right winger or vice versa as a right back. He's running the length of the pitch to help project Leicester on the front foot. And for me, I'm going to give him an 8. Yeah,
no, I agree. Brookline just gave Ward a 10. Fair enough. You know, it was an excellent performance. And Gray gives Cassie 8 there. I mean, I don't think, again, I've forgotten all about Ricardo, to be honest with you. But I don't think he walks back into this team.
No, he certainly doesn't, the way Castagna is playing. And if he's going to continue that into the World Cup and New Year, Ricardo's going to have to sit and wait patiently for his chance to get in. Again, this 5
which is how it should be, really.
Yeah, this 5 sub rule, I don't know how permanent it is, but if it's something that is now a permanent fixture, then that can only benefit the situation we're in because, you know, we wouldn't have the excuse or the reasoning, I don't like the word excuse, the reasoning to have these players burn out and forcing them to play more games or come back quicker than expected because we can rotate them into the games, which is helpful. So, I agree with you. Castagna gets in all day ahead of Ricardo right now.
Yeah. John is in, the Eintracht Frankfurt fan. John, good evening. It's been ages. I thought maybe you'd fallen out of love with us all. Great to have you back, John. Great to have you back. And great to have you back on such a joyous occasion. I feel like a vicar. Welcome along.
Praise the children. Praise for you children.
We got Jesus with us anyway. Good evening, John. How are Eintracht doing, by the way? I don't keep up with the European leagues. I definitely know, having seen the quiz last night, that Brad doesn't. So let us know how you're getting on with Eintracht Frankfurt. Let's go to the other side and go for James Justin.
Probably one of his more influential games. I think he's turned a corner on how to be creative in that attacking sense. He seemed to be a bit more central than overlapping today. I noticed that Dewsbury Hall took that role on giving the support down the line. I think that's better for Justin, because it enables him to kind of run back in a straight line and then position when he's a track back a bit better, and he's used his pace to get ahead of him, which worked for him today, because he's going to empty his pockets and find he's going to find baby oil from Johnson & Johnson and wonder where the hell's that come from. He's going to look in his other pocket, realise Adama Traore must have brought it with him.
That sounded so wrong, mate.
I know it did. There was no way there was no way I could think to put that sentence out there without it sounding wrong to start off with. No. The thing is, the problem is with Justin is the side he plays on, he kind of sits on the sidelines for periods, and he kind of lost his involvement in the aggression side. I'm going to give him a 7. I still think it was a really good performance. I think today we saw the better side of his defending capabilities, and that I'm just going to give him a 7, because there was just quiet periods, which is a good thing for him. It's not necessarily on that, but for me, just drop it, just that one for a 7 for Justin.
Yes, yeah. Doug, if you're still in, we've got our Tinder man back in. If you can deal with him, let me just see if I can block him. Actually,
Tinderman. That sounds like the world's crappiest superhero, doesn't
it? Yeah. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Tinderman. Oh, he's coming up behind you. JJ gets 7. Bookline agrees with you. He's still in, Terry. What are your votes? Come on, Terry. Where are you? Terry, come on down. Where's our 12th man? Let's be having you.
Terry's waiting to give Tillemans a 4 just to slide one in.
John says thanks. To be sure, I keep an eye on you. Eintracht doing good. Great to hear. Nice one, John, and welcome back. JJ 7.5. We can't do halves. It doesn't allow us to do halves, David. You awkward sod.
And to be fair, I find them awkward, because I'd always say, if you're sitting on the fence and you're trying to put someone between half and less, they're already at the lower number, and that's what I kind of did with JJ. I was like,
that's a fair point. That is a fair point.
Yeah.
Mr. Amati, now go on. I've had my say on him earlier.
I think for a man that's taken a lot of stick, whenever he seems to play for us, he seems to get a lot of stick off fans, and yet again he comes up with the goods. Does he need a lead on that pitch? Clearly. Is anybody that isn't named Johnny Evans and Wout Faes a leader for us at that back line in the centre-back area? Clearly not. So when he's got the capability around him, and he's got that little, arm around his shoulder sort of thing, but he's got that calmness to know who's alongside him, to depend on them, and I'm honestly, there's probably going to be a few that get this rating, because I was stuck for a man of the match, and you'll see why. Because I'm going to give Amati a 9. I thought he was faultless today. I think he was brilliant in his recovery. He was brilliant getting blocks. He took a potential dangerous build-up play from Wolves, and they got a throw-in or a corner from it. And I know people say set pieces were bad, but you know what I mean? Like, instead of giving them a direct chance at goal, we were dealing with it and preventing them having so many clear-cut chances. So he gets a 9 for me.
No, that's fair enough. Gray, you welcome to our world.
What's he said there?
That's where the police live. Let's be having you.
That's also where Delia Smith lives, so it's all right.
Yeah. Marty 7 says Ray. Marty 7 solid says Brookline. 8 says Gray. And for me, like I say, I was sold on him on this game. I just forgot he was there. I just totally forgot he was there. And I say, for me, if you forget that a defender or somebody is actually there, they're having a good game because they're doing what they should be doing. Now he's won man of the match probably 4 out of 5 times since he's joined us. What I love about this guy, and I said this at the start, he does not give a toss about playing it around at the back and passing it to somebody. He just boots it into Rosette. If it ends up in the River Soar, he doesn't give a shit. He just kicks it out. Come on, Fofana who?
Well, exactly, Chris. I mean, I made comparisons in terms of his aggression and his ability to not only just anticipate but engage with what he's anticipating. Some of the, and I know some Wolves fans will probably think, standoffish in what they did and they didn't react to the ball, but he was already taking 3 strides to win a ball before an opposition players had the chance to even think what they're going to do with it. And he's aggressive. He little bit just maybe calm the slides a little bit down, because there was one where he got butts at the end. You thought, oh, good job you're not on a booking already. But
we've been waiting for that, haven't we? We know he's got that in him,
Which is why I think he sometimes, not just because of his hair, but I call him the Belgian David Luiz, but he shows so many great components and of so many notable great centre backs that we've seen over the years, Chris. And he's just a joy to watch, and he's going to get the same as his centre back partner here, Chris. I can't not give him a 9 for that performance. He was absolutely epic.
No, I would agree. If only for his booting it into Rosette.
Yeah.
And literally, I'd sooner him get a booking in the 89th minute than the 8th minute. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
We've said we want players that let other players know that they're there, and that's basically what he was doing. Gray gives 9 to FaZe. Ray gives 9 to FaZe, Ray and Gray. And Bookline gives 9 to FaZe as well. Okay, let us go on to Samore. Samore, whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm not going to do the singing, but I'm just as impressed. For me, broke up the play. Seemed to be, maybe we were clearly mistaken it near the back end of last season, Chris, because we used to say that Mendy and Samore were getting babysat by Youri Tielemans. Clearly, it's all been part of the plan all along. The way we've seen it today, and it's come good because he had that trust in him. They knew where to go. They knew where to run off each other. They knew which one was staying back. They knew which one was going forward. They knew which one had to drop a bit deeper. Then who was chasing who was tracking the runners. And again, I'm going to give him an 8 because he gave me that feeling of Ndidi sort of reassurance. We found ourselves last year saying didn't hear him, and that was probably a good thing. I know you just said that about Amati, but I feel the same with Samore. So I'm going to give him an 8. I think he was very, very solid.
Yeah. Gray agrees with you, gives him an 8. Bookline, gives him a 6. Couple of loose passes only, but got stronger as the game went on. And Ray gives him a 7. So, right. Terry, where are you? Come in, Terry. Youri Tielemans.
Honestly, and look, we've already been through this. I even admit, after rethinking the duty he was given by Brendan and the job he did against Leeds, I would have upped my rating a couple of numbers, but not by much. Not by much, because what I want to see from Youri Tielemans today, I was given. Asking you shall receive. It's a 9, Chris. His goal of the season contender. Say about all 4 goals. I think the way they passed it around and the link-up play, all the efforts the players had on the individuals, all the goals were fantastic. But Youri was full of confidence. He looked to drive forward. Again, I said about Samore, vice versa. Youri was in tandem with his midfield. You could say what you like about his contract. If he's going to play like that, whilst his contract's run out,
best goal of the 4.
It sounds harsh because any one of them goals on its day would have been the best goal of any match, wouldn't they? But you've got them all in the same match, and I would say that it's got to be yours.
I think so. I mean, it was top bins, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it hit the post. You could argue, but no, I mean, it hit the post on the right side and went in.
I mean, that's one of them goals that you connect with, playing with your mates on a park, and you're like, don't take off, and it kind of just stayed straight and true, didn't it?
No goalkeeper from any country of any class is going to get to that.
But that's the quality he's able to possess. You know what? I ask if he giveth, he's going to get a 9. He's going to get a 9.
9. Okay. Let's have a look. Christine typing now. Terry's just passed out. Yuri 8 from Brookline, 8 from Ray, and 8 from Gray. Now, the one player I thought probably didn't have the best of games, and I thought might have come off earlier, Mr. Dewsbury Hall.
He shows effort and runs around a bit, and he made some nice intent passes. The problem was in that sentence is the word intent. They didn't quite get them going at points, but he has a lovely understanding with Barnes, Madison, and Vardy and Daka, whoever it is that's playing in front. Because when they make that little intricate triangle, quick one-touch football that we've seen on training ground and we've seen throughout the seasons, they do it with a Brazilian-esque niche, don't they? And I've got to give credit. It didn't all work off the way he hoped today, the way he planned, but he did put the effort in. The fact that what's this now, like his 30th game or something ridiculous like that. He's only played like 20 or 30 games for Leicester now, probably more than that. I think he played a lot last season, but the fact that he's only played that many games, and this is probably the least impressive of what's been a very good start to his Leicester career, I'm going to give him a 6 because, there was mistakes and there was intent, but the intent would come off. And you want to put a blot on it, I think probably Dewsbury Hall slides into a 6 for me.
6. Okay.
And that's saying something, isn't it? 30-odd games for Leicester, and this is the first time I'm looking at
To be honest with you, he's looking a bit knackered, and maybe he needs a break. I don't know.
You could have argued at the lineup that maybe that's where Pratt was going to get snuck in.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case until
But it's hard to criticise when you're just looking at a 4-0 win. He was back with a bang. I thought, for me, occasionally he tried to sort of show that he was back and try to do too much himself when there was other options available. But he's the player of the season so far, and my God, he had two Wolves defenders on him. He shook them off. He then had another 2 Wolves defenders on him in the box. He still scored. James Maddison
is going to go down as number 1 on everybody's list of most baffling players that didn't make this year's World Cup because the guy was absolutely first class. And again, it shows the improvement and maturity he's made as a player, because even up to last season, Chris, he would have frustrated Leicester fans because he'd have gone down too easy with a little bit of contact. He'd have given the ball away. He wouldn't have got it out of his feet. He would have had a shot a bit earlier. But that goal typified his learnings and where he's improved his game throughout these few months and whatnot and over time. Because he, like you said, he wiggled away from the defence. He could have gone down. He didn't. He stayed on his feet. He was getting lent on and pushed out onto that right-hand side of the box. He could have gone down. He would have, if he'd have been lucky, he'd have got a weak free kick, but he didn't. He kept his balance. He kept his composure. He believed in himself. He got his head down. And it was another, like I said, any other time he probably wins goal of the game easily for his finish. Rocket into the bottom corner. And I guess bittersweet, isn't it? I'm great why he's doing it for Leicester, but it's going to be so baffling when he's not picked for the England squad. Because for me, I don't want to spoil anything today because it's not going to happen. because I know I gave one last week, but I'm going to put him in the 9 category. I was tempted to go 10 for 10 like that, but no, I'm going to put him in 9 because...
No. Harvey Barnes. I'll be careful what I say here because my nephew is friends with him. He sent me a video of him out drinking together. So he said, let's hope. I said, because I said, oh, it wasn't last night, was it? Don't get him pissed before the game. No, it wasn't, obviously. And he said, let's hope he scores a scorcher. He scored a typical Barnes goal. Again, I called it wrong because I thought he maybe been left out. You know, one of the ones that was left out. KDH moved over and Pratt come in, but proved me wrong as always. And I thought he had a decent game.
Yeah, he did, and for once he didn't have a period in the game where he's forced to not be able to do much in terms of he gets 3 men around him, or you know that he's restricted to the wing. He got a bit more freedom to stay in. You could argue you're 2-0 up or 3-0 up, you take the wind out of Wolves. That's why he got freedom. But he was creative, and it wasn't just a Harvey Barnes like goal. That just tells you how pivotal he is to the attack when they try and attack like that, Leicester. Because you would say when they make that 3 pass across the box sort of thinky triangle in and around the opposition's box, it tells you if the percentage of the goals scored from that build-up play is from Barnes, and it works, because that was actually probably a Leicester team goal, you'd call it, wouldn't you? The way they quickly move the ball around and do it, and the fact that Barnes is probably the shareholder in that. It was a good game. The thing else is probably the hardest part to being a winger is when your side isn't the side that you're operating down, you can go a bit quiet today, and you know, he's allowed to relax a little bit. Like I said, when you're 2-3-0 up in the last stage of the game, he still ran around, he still did a job. Got a great goal, Robin Hood celebration. Yeah. I like that a little bit. I'm just going to give him a 7.
7.
You know, he's not. You know, he's had a very good game.
We said, or you've said before, haven't you? Like, you know, whoever Rodgers picks, it's to fit in and around Barnes. But when he has games like that, you can understand why. You know. But Barnes gets an 8 from Gray, a 9 from Brookline, and a 9 from Ray. Okay, now Daka do. Yeah, I mean, one striker doesn't score, the other one does. And when one striker doesn't score, but it's coming over from the rest of the field, you don't really miss. But what do you think about Daka?
Look, I rate Daka. I don't think dropping back so deep suits him. Clearly, with the way he tried, with some of his runs, you noticed today where he didn't get the ball, but them runs were pushing the defensive line back. And there were some runs he made where you think, you know, why are you running there? But then you watch actually how the defence in tandem move. He's being used very cleverly to use his pace, not necessarily to always drive at a defence and have the ball at his feet, but to drag defence away to create that space. So although he had a quiet afternoon, I don't think he had, apart from that block on Sarr where it could have gone into the net, I don't think he had all that much in the way of creative chances. But as we've seen with Vardy this season, and what Rodgers has said about them is, don't judge them on the goals they score, judge them on what they actually do during the game. And there was things maybe off the ball that people didn't notice about Daka. I liked what he did, and for me, I'm going to give him a 7. I'm going to give him a 7. I'm going to give him a 7. Most notably because although it's not something you should judge them overall on, their main objective is to get a goal. But it did well.
If the team's scoring, you could argue, you know. Daka gets a 6 from Ray, a 6 from Gray, a 6 from Brookline, and a 7 from Terry. And Terry, can you deal with Mr. Tinder's back? If you could do so, please. Right, now the defenders, the substitutes. I'm not going to rate Thomas. He was on for 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Null and void it.
No. But let's take there's 4 others. I mean, never had so many subs to talk about. First ones on were Mendy for Samari and Vardy for Daka.
Well, let's start with the easier one to rate out of them. Mendy, solid job, came on like for like. And to be honest with you, since last season, he's always been fairly reliable. Give him a 7. Give him 7. I think he was, again, quiet because of that. There was a good reason to give him that because he did his job well.
Yeah. Mendy 9 says Brookline.
Can't go that high for a substitute unless he scores a hat trick, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Paul, good evening. How are you? She's too expensive for me, Miss Tinder, says Terry. I can't. I'm swiping up and nothing's happening. That's all I can say. Vardy. I mean, I said at the start, glad he wasn't playing. He needs to score a goal. I don't know if he was listening or not, but he went and scored a goal. It was a typical Vardy goal. He was Fox in the box. He was there. He was on the end of it. Argue that he couldn't have missed from there, but he can. He has done recently. The goalkeeper could have got to it, but no. Great cross in, slotted it into the net.
Yeah, it's Jamie Vardy being Jamie Vardy, wasn't it? Really crashing a can of Red Bull, coming on, winding up the away fans, scoring a goal, mocking them with a celebration. Bob's your uncle, aren't your teapot, and all that, as I say. You know what I mean? But that was Jamie Vardy-esque. Worked well, and again, we've questioned Rodgers just spatting a load of horse manure at times and just saying things to say things, but maybe we are starting to see these things take effect because the confidence there now. Vardy clearly has another role. He's stretching his play more. He's found a little bit help to support left or right of the wings, depending on which one probably needs an extra man there for an extra option. He's grafting in and around the box to win the ball back or start the attack as it is. He gets Jamie Vardy specials, doesn't he? And I've got to give him an 8. I think he was impressive. He was really good.
Okay.
I asked from Yuri, I got given it. You wished it from Vardy.
Yeah,
and you got it.
And let's hope that it kickstarts his career, his season. You've seen. I mean, Harry Kane always takes about 2 months to get started. Or he used to, didn't he? Couldn't score in September, but no, he did what was asked of him, and you can't ask anything more. I've been saying, that's for me. That's what he is. Super sub comes on, but he needed a goal. He got one. Pratt came on a minute later on the 62nd minute.
I was impressed with him. Again, I noted against Leeds that he was the one that won the ball. He was the one that wrapped his leg around the Leeds player to pass the ball in to create, I think it was the first goal, in the Leeds game. And it was like he, how to say in certain things, it's like he just picked up his football. Like he picked up his football from the King Power, walked out into Molyneux when he was given, given permission for Brendan to walk out there and just picked it up. He hustled and bustled. He won the ball back. I think for Vardy's goal, I think he broke the play up, laid in Castagne, who got him behind and played it across for Vardy's goal. I rate him. You said there, kind of, I know it was because you muddled words, but you said there, that's what's going to happen with Vardy being a super sub. And you nearly said that he was going to be like he could define his career. Well, this could be the moment Dennis Pratt's career gets underway properly at Leicester. Talked about this 5-sub rule. Maybe Brendan's watching and he's realised he can use all 5 in one game. It's not 5 subs throughout the season, Brendan. Don't worry. He's figured that out.
Yeah.
But again, we could see that now, couldn't we, Chris? If we've seen it once, there's no reason to suggest that while he's had a good appearance start and a good substitute appearance, that we can't play Man City and he gets a start because maybe he thinks.
I've said natural successor when Tielemans moves on, which
exactly.
He's going to,
if you want him to be that, he's got to be happy here. And whether you're doing it for the right or wrong reasons or whatever, you've got to keep him happy and want him to think he can have a career here. And I'm going to give him an 8. again, hard-working, grafting, just as good as he was against Leeds over a shorter period, and yeah, very much deserving.
Like I said, we're not going to rate Thomas because it would be unfair to, because he was only on for 2 minutes. Kevin came on the 79th minute. I thought he had a couple of good touches.
I think he did very well. The game was dead in terms of result-wise, but he never failed. It would have been easy for Leicester to have just made them substitutions, especially the latter ones, and just sat back.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it had conceded 1 goal, we'd have been gutted. We lost the clean sheet, but it's still been 4-1. But the thing is, he came on and he imposed himself. He didn't, you know, the one thing we fought with Albrighton is he doesn't have that intensity for the longevity of a game to do what Justin and Albrighton, and not Brighton, you know, what Barnes and Justin and that do on the left-hand side, which is constantly put pressure on the opposition defence. I tell you what, vice captain came on today. Kevin came on and he pressed. He won the ball. I called him a sexy little bitch for his touch that he did, where he looked like prime Messi with the way he brought the ball down and took it under control. And I'm gonna give him a 7, just because he was a little bit short. Yes, I've heard. It
never gets boring. That, I'm sorry.
No, it never will. Just because he was a little bit short on time. And you know what? To make the ratings nice, Chris, just to give everybody a nice rating, give Thomas a 5. Give him a 5 for warming the crowd up for the applause. Give him a 5 so he doesn't feel left out of a positive.
Give him a 5 for his new hairdo.
Yeah, just that 5 because you came off the bench, mate.
Yeah, let's just have a look what people are saying here. Parker say Paul is in. Good evening, Paul. How are you? Mendy gets a 9 off Brookline. Mendy an 8 off Paul. Pratt a 7 off Brookline. Vardy 5 + 1 for the tap-in, 6 from Brookline. I can do the maths. Ray gives Vardy 7. Matty Roundtree, good evening. Congratulations, Matty. Top 4 for Newcastle and you beat Spurs. Double result. Nice one, mate. Get in there. And let's see Newcastle in the Champions League. Going to give Vardy an 8 in the hope it's the confidence booster. Vardy will score now. Pratt is quality 8. Pratt is the new Inacho 8. Hope he gets more time than Iheanacho.
Yeah, he's getting treated better than Iheanacho, isn't he?
Yeah. Pratt's like a new signing. Just hope he gets more game time. Kevin, vice captain 7. Hang on, I've jumped a bit there. Where's it gone? Here we go. Kevin 7 again off Brookline. While an overall average, you mark the team as an 8, and nobody can disagree with that. You got the calculator out, Terry, didn't you?
About the average.
Len Goodman is claiming copyright. Oh, it's bloody Tinder is back again. I've blocked them. Yeah, and it's a waste of time if you report them to YouTube. YouTube do sweet FA. Probably they can't because they obviously change things and hide their addresses and what have you. And Brookline says set piece coach 10.
Yeah,
fair dues.
I didn't get a chance to talk about him, but again, and I don't know if anyone else notices, Chris. When we were making them substitutions, it was I could be wrong, someone might correct me, but it wasn't Brendan and it wasn't Colo, I know that for a fact, but somebody, and I'm pretty sure it was set piece coach, was talking to Faz. He was giving him instructions. So, you know, I said it when he came in, maybe the way he orchestrates set pieces is done on the defending and attacking sense of it. And he's having an impact, I'd agree with Brookline. Staff-wise, 10s.
Yeah. Well, let's say clean sheets. Colonel Ward, welcome along, mate. Good result for Leicester. It certainly was. We'll just quickly compare those to the BBC and see what they did, and then do the man of the match straight after this.
Happy Halloween. Do try not to die.
It is, and we've not had a nightmare of a performance either. I can't remember what the set piece coach is called, Ray, but he's done something, and yeah, that's his job. If he is talking to the defenders, great. You know, that's what we're paying him for at the end of the day. Right, let's just have a look at what the BBC did here. So, guess who was the man of the match was a Leicester player. Surprise, surprise, it was 4-0. Guess who the man of the match was according to the BBC fans?
Jamie Vardy.
You know, you're dead on. He got an 8.14, Tielemans 7.88, Ward 7.87, Maddison 7.84, Barnes 7.82, Face 0.64, Dewsbury Hall 0.59, O'Brien 0.53, Pratt 0.52, Castagna 0.52, Justin 47, Mendy 31, Thomas 25. Thomas got more for his 2 minutes than Daka did. Who got 14.
I mean, the BBC is a difficult one because it's not like a reporter sat there and done it. It's all done on percentage,
it's done on fans. Fans are able to vote on it, and then it takes an average. And I just think maybe Thomas had one or two mates there. Amata got 14.
Popularity is always going to rule on that.
Yeah, Samari got 6, but man of the match. What game were they all watching?
I know, right? I know. So many people that give these scores and don't know what they're talking about.
But anyway, man of the match. You probably know. Well, you do. You know who it is. I've got to agree with Alan. Alan Bennett there chose him. He's at the match live, so he's watching the game live, which is why he picks my man of the match. Youri Tielemans, can't argue with it, mate.
Hey, you can't. And like I said with my rating system today, it's nice to say there was probably 3 or 4 contenders for it, and you wouldn't really argue with 3 or 4 of them. Had Alan picked any of the 4, maybe even more than that, 5 or 6 players they could have been gifted man of the match, and you wouldn't argue with it. Got an all-round Youri performance, mate, and that was pleasing. It's taken 12 games for us to get an all-round performance out of him. Again, put that down to Brennan, if you will, and certain things we don't know, but yeah, it's man of the match deserving. And like you said, mate, it's hard to argue with him because it was so impressive today.
Yeah. Bronze, agree with most of your scores, but I like KDH more than you seem to. I felt you was the instigator of danger to Wolves many times. Opinions, mate. It's all about opinions. And the opinion is that we kicked Wolves' arse. I don't know if anybody, and I love this, the people that I take the match report from, because we do a fans match report, when Brian sends it me through, Brian Langston, but I also do a news match report, and I love the headline that they put today, which is on the website, www.leicestertillidie.com. Foursome foxes scare whimpering Wolves away. That sums it up. That's worthy of the sun, that is. Brad, thank you very much, mate. Hey, oops. Let me add you back. Let me get rid of that one. That's what I wanted to do. Brilliant. Hey, 2 wins on the trot. Can we make it 3?
Yeah, of course we can. Of course we can. Fez is gonna stroll into King Power at 12:13. Come back to about 2:30 when he's ready to go home. He'll check his jeans pockets and he'll go keys, wallet, Haaland, Foden, Grealish. And Vardy will score a hat-trick, and we're going to beat Man City. Everything's looking rosy. We're not deluded over here. We're not getting too carried away.
No, we're not. We're not pissed. We're not pissed.
Mate, you never know, mate. Do you? That's the joy of football. You never know. It's very unlikely.
Hey, 5-2 not so long ago, mind you. They didn't have a defence in that game, but look, Tuesday 9:00. You're back for the prediction league with my good self. And Steve Lynex, who's been doing the old Auf Wiedersehen pet bit in Germany. So hopefully Steve's going to be back. Look forward to welcoming him back onto the show because he's getting too close to me with all these guests voting for him.
Well, I told him to think outside the box. I didn't think he'd throw sickies just to get guests on for him.
Oh, dear. Look, mate, where can people find you?
Mostly sat here, but of course you wouldn't know where here is. So you can find me here at Leicester Till I Die, but you can find me on Twitter, and my Twitter handle is all one word. It's at Fulltime Focus. And if you click the link to the YouTube channel in my bio on my Twitter page, that will take you to my top 10 battles channel. It's a couple of episodes on there. We'll be doing one next week, which will be top 10 Premier League goalkeepers, past or present. So if you like top 10 lists, especially sporting ones, go and check us out and click subscribe. But do leave a like on this video here first. And if you are new, subscribe as well.
If Spider Kalich is not in that top 10, I will be chasing you.
Well, all I'm saying is the way we're doing these sort of football ones going forward is so there's not pre-chance of guessing. I've decided with my other co-hosts, and obviously I know when you're available, you'll jump on if you can. But with my co-hosts that we're doing, what we're going to do is put honourable mentions in for our own club. So there won't be no Leicester bias in my top 10, but then you will know who my Leicester favourite goalkeeper is from Spider. Man.
Brad, thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. I'm not. Is it Wednesday at 9?
Yes, I believe, unless Dan informs me otherwise, it should be Wednesday at 9 o'clock. And yeah, it's top 10 Premier League goalkeepers, and that's past and present. So if you guys are going to get involved in your lists in the comments and join us, it doesn't matter if they played one game in the Premiership. If they were your best goalkeeper in the Premiership, get them involved.
Yeah,
get involved.
No, that is fine. I may be able to join you depending how far that camera goes up my arse. I will.
I just thought about that for a second.
I'll show the pictures. I'll put a folder on Facebook, and you can enjoy them. Mate, thank you very much. See you Tuesday at 9.
See you Tuesday, mate.
Cheers. Thanks everybody for joining in. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat. It obviously helps us all, helps the chat out when you join in. I'm going to go off. We've got a show at 9 o'clock, a radio show. Thanks, of course, to Chelsea Perspective for his donation. That really did mean a lot. And I'm going to be back at 9 o'clock, and I am going to be back with Doug, and I'll be back on this.
Start with Chris. Add a dash of sport. Squeeze in some music. Then shake, don't stir. And you've got the ultimate blend. LTID Radio.
Please subscribe. It does help the channel out. You have to follow me by entering your email. It's mixcloud.com/LTID radio. Mixcloud.com/LTID radio. Or go to all the w's.leicestertillidie.com/radio. The link is in there as well. You don't get, as I say, Brad was saying earlier, he's followed me. You do not get loads and loads and loads of shit emails or spam or anything like that. So please do follow that. 9 o'clock tonight, myself and Doug. We're going out with a laugh. We're going to go say goodbye to the weekend with a laugh. Goodbye to the weekend with a win. 4-0. Leicester City 4, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0. Who are you? We're not in the relegation zone anymore. See you later.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die TV. They think it's all over. It is now.